All right, welcome in. Welcome back to the BFR podcast presented by Sports Mockery. My name is Dave, cover the Bears for SM, joined by Chicago Bears content creator Ficky, and of course, our producer Jack is on the sticks and going to give his opinion as well on the show. Bears Seahawks post-game show. Bears lose 6-3. Oh my God. Just saying that it is bizarre. What a horrible game to watch. We have one more game left. This one was a snooze fest. There's a lot to discuss. I don't really have a lot of words. Well, actually, I do. Thomas Brown. I didn't think we would be better off or worse off with Thomas Brown, but today, that end of game situational play calling, management with the timeouts, it was bizarre. I don't know if he's worse than Matt Eberflus or just as bad. I honestly can't tell. But either way, it's shocking to still be having those conversations with another. I know he's an interim head coach, but it's like the same storyline, same, word for word, stealing everything from Flus, because this was a debacle. This was embarrassing. It's going to be it's not going to be talked about as much because this game does not matter. But boys, how are we feeling? This was incredibly hard to watch.
Bro.
Good God.
It was tough. Like, I had a tweet where it was like, all season, we've had this. We're either more likely option A. There's two options that happen when the Bears play. Option A is scenario A is where the defense shows up. And that happened a lot of our games. Defense shows up. Offense doesn't even forgets how to play football. Like, you can talk about the Titans game. You can talk about this game. There's a couple of them earlier on. Caleb's had 4 games where he's had under 150 yards. That tells me the offense does know how to play. But we were in those games because the defense balled out. That's what happened today. And then inversely, what we see is what we saw last week, where it's the offense could have over 300 yards or 350, close to that, and the defense gives up 50 points, right? That's why we're 4-11. We have yet to have, other than the Panthers game, there's barely any games we've had where it's wow, both sides of the ball looked great. And again, it's just the polarity, the disparity of it all is incredible to see. And then not only that, what was hard to watch with Caleb was this man would make plays on 4th down. He had 2 balls that were snapped to the ground. He picks them up and makes it out of something, right? You see the magician type plays, the plays you saw at USC, and you're like, that is the guy, which I still think he is. So let me preface with that. But you see some throws where it's Caleb, bro, your dude is wide open. You're misthrowing him. You're throwing it in the ground. You're throwing him behind. If you think of that deep post to Rome, even if Rome was continuing to go, right, that ball was high as hell. You had plenty of time in the pocket. You didn't have many times when you had time in the pocket, but when you did, I almost felt more concerned, because when you made your plays was when the pocket was all over the place and you scrambled and made some throws. But when you sat in the pocket, I was like, oh, he's not going to deliver a dart. So I don't think that's going to be the way of the future. I think a lot of that was footing, which he talked about in his pregame show. Right. And he'll get that down. So I'm not too concerned, but it just to take that of the hot and cold, the extremity, it also was seeing how well one side of the ball plays and how the other one forgets how to play. It's been like that all season. And it's just, I know we're numb to it, but I feel like I'm losing my mind because we keep seeing the same thing over and over again. This is just like the Houston game. Houston didn't play. The offense didn't play well, but 4th quarter, guess what? Defense kept us in it enough. We had a chance to march down, win the game. Right. And like you said, Dave, bad mismanagement of time. That 4th down where he's okay, we're going to, first off, the false start, right? And then we're backed up. And then the final thing, I'll end it with this, and I'll give it to you, Jack. This team has given up, I think, 67 sacks now, because I made this overlay before the game was over, and they gave up 1 more sack. Some of those are on Caleb, some are on the line. But that is the 4th most in NFL history. Let me repeat, the 4th most. That's not rookie. That's the 2nd most for a rookie. He surpassed Bryce Young and the Panthers last year. The 4th most in NFL history. That's over 100 years. This offensive line is historically bad. So I ended it, and I'll end it here. I ended the game. Hashtag fire Ryan Poles, because you have put this team in such a bad position from the trenches. It is historically bad. That's my piece. Sorry, extra long, but to you, Jack.
Ficky, take the comments here because I'm in full crash out mode.
Yeah, go ahead.
This team from top to bottom is the worst football team I've ever seen in my lifetime of 22 years, any Bears team. This right here is the worst team. I'm trying to go, my mind's all over the place. So 1, We even had a comment about it. The fact that we have an NFL kicker, a man with 32 jobs in the world, we have one that cannot kick a 57-yard field goal. We can't even attempt it. We can't even attempt the field goal because our kicker does not have the leg for it. Better yet, it'll be blocked. Number 2, Thomas Brown, the hype around him is unfathomable at this point. I feel like the offense is going backwards. It almost looks worse than Shane Waldron's. Like, honest to God, like the amount of screens, it's like that's his whole play sheet is screen. I get that Keenan Allen kind of fucking sucks now and can't catch the ball. DJ Moore, like, he's really good at catching the RPO screens, that shit. We have the talent to make a catch downfield, throw the ball downfield. The timeout management, it literally seems like we have like a secret coach or like somebody saying like, call a timeout now, like burn this one here. We don't need it. Like, it's like some demon on the sideline that's like, or like some terrorist. I don't know what it is. It's insane to me. I'm just trying to fire off the top of my head here.
You're good.
Love the Bears fans. You guys are awesome. I tweeted that earlier too. Like, you guys rock, even though you paid the McCaskies, you paid them for this year. Kind of hate you for that. The run game is just absolutely brutal. Like, DeAndre did have some nice breakouts, but like, it's impossible for Caleb to get going. I mean, there's no fucking line. That's a whole other, we could do a 3-hour show next week. You want to do it? Dave, it's up to you. 3-hour show next week. We'll just do it all about the offensive line and how fucking atrocious they are. I cannot. Barner, I want Barner to, I hope that the entire roster, he stands in the middle of the locker room on the C, on the logo, and there's like, beat the shit out of him. Everyone beat him up. I want him fucking dead. I hate him. Who is that? Who is that? Where did he come from? Was he drafted? Was he a free agent? I swear to God, he's made
Jacob Kernham or who?
Kernham. You're talking about Kernham?
Yeah. What did I say?
73.
Yeah.
He took away a great highlight. Would have been a staple for his rookie year. Caleb Williams, the Jordan throw, where it was taken away to Rome Odunze touchdown. That was disgusting. But yeah,
right.
And then the false start, but ended up Caleb still bailed him out on that. I said it. Caleb Williams' worst enemy is his offensive line. However, there are some sacks, and if we're going to go back and look at this entire year, there's going to be plenty. I would say a handful, maybe more, that are going to be on a rookie quarterback. But he's a rookie, so I get that. And he tries to play Superman. So I don't want that. I don't ever want to take that away from him. But God, there are some sacks tonight where it's like, yeah, it's the offensive line. But man, there are brutal times where it's like, man, just maybe throw it away. Maybe. And then also the coaches, I mean, it looked like Rome Odunze. This is the one play in the fourth where he looked like he was the hot route there. And Caleb, what is even looking his way? So I'm like, it's hard. We're not in the room. We're not coaching. Right. We don't know the progressions and whatnot. But gosh, if that's not the hot route, I mean, then the coaching is just terrible. Then the coaching is terrible, which is very possible.
We know that's a fact. But Dave, even if, right, let's just say, right, there's been 67 sacks, right? Let's just say a third of them, which I think is a little too high, but we'll even go on the high end. A third of them are on Caleb Williams. That's like 20 sacks, okay? A normal team would have, if it's a third, let's say they have 35 sacks on the season, 40, right? That's only like 10 or so sacks. It's not that much. Right. Well, I mean, it is, but like, you're like, okay, we can deal with that. The problem is this team has almost given up 70 sacks. 70. That is incredible to say. And we still have one more game left. Unfortunately, there's like a concoction of the worst things possible, right? Lack of talent and injuries. Like, we think about this week, right? Why is someone like Kernam in? Why is someone like Larry Borman? Oh, because Tevin Jenkins is injured. Oh, because Braxton Jones got injured for the second time, right? And they're fair injuries, like brutal injuries. So you have that, but you also didn't have the talent to begin with. So if your ceiling is already low and you strip that away, you're basically dealing with guys you pick up from Publix that were packing bags last week. You know what I mean? And no disrespect to them. I'm just saying, though, they're not starting. Larry Borum and Jake Kernam are not starting on any NFL team, right? We're one of the worst ones in the league, and they don't even start on ours unless there's injuries. So we've talked about it so many pre-games because we go over the injury report. There's so many games this year we walk in and go, my God, this is going to be a tough one for Caleb. So I'm going to ask you guys this question, right? We know the situation going into next week, and it's Green Bay, right? Before, I was like they hadn't been, well, let's be real. When Braxton Jones was starting, when the starters were in, they're not giving up crazy amount of sacks. It'd be like 3. It's like still too many, but you're like, okay, whatever, serviceable. every time we have like 5, 6, 7 games, it's where it's like, oh, both our tackles are out, guards out, blah, blah. That's where we're at now. So going into Green Bay, and you saw how Caleb's getting killed out there. Do you start him or do you sit him? Do you want the Bears to be in a position to break an NFL record of sacks given up in a season? Like, do you want that to be put on? And maybe that's not as important, but even the health of the quarterback. So we'll start with you, Jack. What do you think? Would you start him or would you sit him?
Yeah, sitting him such a bitch made move, dude. I totally get the logic, but man, I already feel like shit. And so for like, if we go to Green Bay, like it's final week of the season and we're playing Tyson, dude. Oh God, that would just drive me crazy. I can already picture like the 80-yard stat line, 55,000 sacks. I would hate it. So I am all for starting Caleb. We started this way. Let's finish this way. Dave?
No, that's fair.
Yeah. I want to still talk about this game because I could care less about next week right now. There's just so much to talk about. But if you sit Caleb against fucking Green Bay, I mean, yeah, bitch move. I understand, probably the logic behind it, keeping them safe, don't want to, that is embarrassing. But I mean, yeah, don't do that to us. I don't want to see Tyson Bagent. I hope Braxton Jones is back. Or no, he's out. Never mind.
He's out. He's out for the season.
Fuck. Well, what about Tev? Like maybe Tevin Jenkins. Like I don't know if he's out.
Dave, I want you to
Kernham.
I think he's
Jacob
be
Kernham.
out.
Yeah, Jacob Kernham was just God. He was so bad tonight.
But Larry Bourne's awful as well. So
but yeah, you do not sit. You haven't earned the right to sit Caleb Williams right now. Like you said, I think to have him go through a full 17-game season. With all of that, everything that's all the chaos, the different coordinators, the firings, the sacks, the incompetence at such a high level throughout the entire organization from top to bottom. I mean, it is embarrassing, and I think he deserves to finish this thing out. He's earned the right. There was a comment there. I like that as well. But yeah, today it was just. I mean, he scored 3 points, man. It's just terrible. It's just terrible. It's very Bearsy. We've seen it every single year. It's like every year it's the same old story, right? But I mean, one thing that really struck me was just the crowd, though. Like this was like a playoff game. They treated this like a playoff game.
The Kyler Gordon touchdown, the place went crazy.
Yeah, and he was blowing kisses to him. I mean, the Bears defense showed up tonight, which shout out to them because they went on an 8 straight game bender, like where it was just awful.
Awful.
Like, didn't even recognize this team or at least that side of the ball. And today, I mean, to do what they did against a pretty good, maybe average offense, but I mean, they have some playmakers out there, right? DK,
sure.
JSN, Tyler Lockett. I know they were missing Kenneth Walker. That's a big piece. I mean, even though the running backs look pretty good, I was getting pissed off early on.
Yeah, that first
Charbonnet
game,
looked like
bro, they're gonna run for 300.
Like beast mode, dude. I was like, I almost tweeted. I was like, it's Lord, I'm gonna let that one sit for a minute. But no, I mean, Caleb Williams, and he deserves so much better. I do want to really talk about this real quick because one of the biggest things from this game, because we're going to talk a lot about Caleb Williams now and then also the entire offseason and what we're going to do to build around him. But right now, one of the most pressing questions, and we've talked about it from when the times where our kicks were getting blocked that cost us games, right? That it wasn't always on Santos. But tonight, it looked like he wanted to go out there, at least attempt it. He kind of walked towards the field and then he got maybe, hey, we're not doing it, kind of got that signal. But to not even attempt a 57-yarder. That's all they needed, a field goal to send it to overtime. It was like they were playing to win the game when all they needed was, maybe take a couple shots early on. But when you realize, hey, no, we're not going to probably score a touchdown here, take your checks downs, take the easy yards here, right? It was just so bizarre that they, weren't even trying to get a few more yards for Santos, but also didn't even allow him to kick it on that 4th and 10. So for me, I mean, I tweeted it. I think a lot of people have actually felt the same way. Is it time to move on from a guy who is a great dude, very accurate, but they don't trust him to kick a 57-yarder? That's bizarre. I mean, how do you feel on that?
No, I mean, I think it's fair. We had this discussion after the second field goal block, back-to-back weeks, right? So we've definitely had this discussion before. I was more on the side of keep them, and I totally understand that. Like, no, I understood your guys' perspective of, moving on. At this point, I wouldn't be opposed, right? You've seen it now 3 games, whether it's his fault or not, right? It's the talent that he has. You're not in a position to give yourself an opportunity to win the game. And then when you are in that position to kick them, the trajectory is too low and it gets blocked. So the problem though that I have with the discussion, not that you're asking it, there's nothing wrong with that, is there's so many holes on this team that like realistically, this doesn't happen in like 4 or 5 of the games if we have an average offensive line. Average. I'm not even asking great. I'm saying look, Dave, 3 points. Like the fact that you're coming down to your kicker, replace them. That's totally fine. But if you don't figure out your offensive line, your kicking stuff doesn't matter. No, I feel you. You can
That's
get
the
replaced.
NFL. I mean, look at Minnesota last week that played Seattle that they lost by 3, right?
No,
and it was a missed field goal.
That's totally fine. I'm saying our biggest issue though is I agree. Cairo, you can replace him, whatever. That's great. But if you're talking about where that money needs to go first, it should go to the place which got your quarterback sacked 6 fucking times.
Let me see here. So his cap hit, they signed him to a 3-year.
I think a 3. Yeah. What was it like?
4-year. This is fucking Ryan Poles, dude. 4 years, $15.9 million contract, $9 million guaranteed. You can cut him. Let's see here. So if you cut him pre-June, you save. It would be $2 million in dead cap space. If you cut him post-June, it would be $1 million. And if you trade him, I mean, you're saving. You're not gonna be able to trade him. But all I'm saying right now is that move does not look good. However, I know you're talking about putting money, right? Throwing money at a kicker. You don't have to. I guarantee you right now, you can go sign somebody off the streets that can kick it 60, 65 yards. You know, he may not be accurate. He may not be at.
65 is crazy. 65 is crazy.
Right now,
there
are kickers right now. I'm not talking about when I say off the streets. I'm not talking about like me or me. I'm talking about like
okay.
waiting for the shot in the NFL kind of training. There might be guys who can kick 50 yards, 55. I get that. I'm talking about there's elite athletes.
Some people from college, there's tons.
But there's kickers, yes. So I'm saying there's 60. They can do it, man. They can do it with ease because that's just the league we're in right now. Like kickers just are able to. I mean, they're pushing. I think someone attempted almost a 70-yarder.
60.
So for me,
last week.
It's a little embarrassing. It's such a Bears thing right now that we can't even. Most teams would be like, oh, we're in field goal range, right? You know, no, not when it comes to Chicago. So I mean, if this was a really important season, like where this game mattered. Now it sucks again. Yeah, we're scoring 3 points. I get that, Ficky, but it's like you want a guy that can at least put you in the spot where it's like, hey, this has been a hell of a game. We've played absolutely terrible. But hey, we're going to go into overtime here because you can make this 57-yarder with ease, or at least just make it. I'm not even saying like you have to clear it, but just be able to attempt it, have the confidence, and then also just put it through the uprights would be nice here. So
I agree with you 100%. My only concern is, and I think this is just the pessimism in me right now, right? Because of watching back, like this 4 years of just not winning football, is that we let him go, which is fair, and then we can't find something that is better.
And maybe I'm crazy, Jack. I don't know how you feel about this, Vicky. I'm okay with it. Santos is a great dude. He is accurate, but I want him to be someone else's problem where they don't feel comfortable kicking from 55 or 50 sometimes with the wind. I don't care. I'd rather have a guy that has a leg and maybe up and down right now. I can't do it. I can't do it where it's like we can't even attempt a field goal in a normal situation for any other team. It's alarming.
Jack, give your opinion. That I actually have a transition because I think it's a good comparison.
Yeah, let Torrey Kaler kick it. That's a great cover in Pearl right here on YouTube. Sorry, Jack. That right there. Seriously, train him. Let's see. Let him kick those 50, 55, 60 yarders. Maybe we can have a 2 kicker game here or something like that.
Might as well, bro. At this point,
that's funny.
Jack, what's your thoughts on it? Even though
I think I'll let you get right into the transition. Cairo Santos, hey, good guy. I don't give a fuck. He could be the worst guy. He could be the greatest guy. He could be God. I don't care. Get him out of here. The NFL is not a fucking 40-yard field goal league anymore.
It's not.
Make a 57-yarder. It's not even the fact that he missed. It's the fact that the coaching staff was like, this motherfucker can't make this. There's no way this goes in. Even if he had the leg, he's 5'1". He's not. It's going to get blocked. It's going to get blocked. We have to get an actual kicker. Dave, like you said, there's probably, if you go into the FBS, there's probably, I would say that there's 50 kickers right now that would make that kick. That Cairo, no way he could. Ficky, transition.
Fair enough. No, you guys are spot on. I'm not upset about it. At this point, this team has lost so much. Do whatever you got to do to improve. I'm not sold on anyone, right? I'm about to ask you a hypothetical here, though. What's worse, having a kicker, right, that you've extended, that accurate but can't make it past 50 yards, or 53 yards, we'll say, or extending a player that gets maybe one target every 3 games, and he's your starting tight end. What's worse? At least one of them gets you points. I'll say that.
Say that again.
So you have one is basically Cairo Santos, we just discussed. The other one is Cole Kmet. I think in the past 3 games, he probably has like 5 targets.
Well, Cole's so interesting,
Because I guess the question really is like, are we concerned that's
like, is he a better
issue?
podcaster or tight end right now? Let's have that conversation.
Well, that's my question.
Seriously, he's non-existent right now. But it's like, for me, it's hard to go in on him right now. Like, I know that was a joke, this petty, but it's like, seriously, because it's like he's getting paid a lot of money, and I'm like, is it the offense? Is it Thomas Brown and these guys? Like, because it's almost like he's just so up and down where it's like, oh, that's why we paid him money. I get that, right? You hear that, or he makes some incredible grabs, has some big games, but then he'll go 4 or 5 games without, like, set a catch, a target sometimes. And it's like, is it him? I mean, and if you watched him today, I'm like, damn, his jersey, his pants are dirty as hell. Like, he's blocking his ass off. I'm like, man, he can't get a target. However, but it's like the play calling today where it's like, how many screens went to DJ Moore? It was like, I could see it coming. Damn well, Seattle, that's a very top 15, top 12 defense. I mean, they were lighting them up. They were almost picked off Caleb earlier in the 4th quarter on a DJ Moore screen. It's like the play calling and the strategy and the game plan just does not help Caleb, and it's not helping Kmet, like, in regards to making sure, living up to that contract he signed. So I think it's more so on the coaching. I just want to see what Ben Johnson, because I think, like, if you ask me right now, Ben Johnson, I think he'd make Cole Kmet. He can get some targets to him.
Well, he's going to improve everyone. Jack, before you answer, I do just want to give off these stats because this is kind of incredible. Okay, these are the last 5 before this game. We know today he had 0. I'm pretty sure he had 0 targets and 0 catches. Okay, so that's today. Last week against the Detroit, 2 targets for 9 yards. The week before that against Minnesota, 1 target for 14 yards. The week before that against San Fran, goose egg targets, 0 yards, right? The week before that against Detroit again, 3 targets for 26. So in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in the last 5 games, which is nearly 2 months, he has 49 yards on 6 targets.
It's got to be the coaching. It's got to be the game planning. There's just, because Kmet is a good player. I know we give him hell. There's just no way he's that bad.
But I'm saying, though, that's what's I walked away from this game and almost forgot that because the offense was so bad. I'm like, dude, I don't even remember seeing him. Everett got a target on a fade before Cole Kmet did. That's what I'm saying.
It is weird, though, because his hands, he has some, like, I know he's dropped a couple, but man, he makes some tough catches. It's weird. This is the weirdest year in a very long time. And that is weird. That is not weird. That is bizarre to say because we've had some crazy seasons, but this one is one up there. Like, I'm going to look back 10 years. You remember 2024, how fucking insane that was? Because how many we went through a head coach, OC fired a head coach first time ever in franchise history. We had the 4 or 5 game losses. This one counts. We're just debacles. Yeah, we're the 4 game where it's insanely. You should have won those games, but you lost in miraculous ways. We got the Hail Mary that the Commanders fans are going to talk about for 100 years.
Back-to-back block field goals. Back-to-back.
Yeah. And then on Thursday night in front of the whole country, the day after Christmas, you score 3 points and you still can't manage your timeouts correctly. You're also, and a little bit is on, like, Thomas Brown. He may be a head coach, but God, I think it's going to be another 10 years because he is just shitting the bed.
Or just not. Go start
or
someone
Matt
that's a good
really fucked him because he is like the spitting image of Matt Eberflus in regards to philosophy. Like, he's playing scared, dude. Like, he's making those, like, the same mistakes that Eberflus had. And then what happened at the end of the 4th, or about 4 or 5 minutes, 2 minutes and 13 seconds left in the 4th quarter. They go to punt it. The boos come out. I actually understood. I was like, okay, defense playing well, field position. I'm like, I was still pissed off. I was like, let's see Caleb do it. Then they waste the timeout, right? Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, if they don't get this, he may be fired. Like they may fire him. Like it's
A
the
game
same
before
shit.
the season.
Yeah, like they may
Only
do it. I
Bears
hope they do.
fashion.
But then he gets bailed out. But it's like then the situational play calling is just it's laughable at this point because it's like I don't know, man. There's not much to say. I think it has to do with the kicker as well. Because like for me, if you understood, okay, our guy can hit from here. I think you're handing the ball off to DeAndre Swift on a half left draw right there.
Yeah.
Right. You just get me 3-4 more
the
yards. I feel confident, he can hit this, right? And so, but then you don't have that type of confidence in your kicker. Matter of fact, I mean, they waved him off for a 55 or 57 yard or whatever it really was. And then you have Caleb running for his life. Like he couldn't, I mean, he was running for his life back there, but at the same time, it was like they couldn't diagnose like pre-snap either because and I got to give credit to Seattle here where like they're drawing up very, very interesting exotics type looks here. You don't know who really is coming.
McDonald.
And of course, then you have Jacob Kernum who should be working at McDonald's. It's just embarrassing, man. It's such a Bears way to lose 6-3 on Thursday night. I would rather take the Packers ass whooping probably, which we're going to get next week. Seriously, sure. I'd rather lose where at least then we get maybe some garbage time stats, right? Because we got nothing from Caleb today.
Well, you remember,
that highlight that was taken away. And maybe a couple throws in that final drive. Go ahead, Vic.
No, I was going to say my biggest concern about this game was that we were going to have a goose egg game, and then going into the final one, the chance for 4,000 is out the window, and voila, that's what happened. So,
hey, unless he goes nuclear.
Yeah, unless he goes for like 600, it's probably not happening. But Jack, because I don't think you got a chance to answer. Are you concerned about the Cole Kmet, or do you feel that's more of just like a coaching malpractice and we'll get it right?
Yeah, it's both. One thing that goes into it is like think of like the plays where Caleb like drops back and then he has about 5 or 6 seconds to throw and nobody's open. Like again, we haven't watched all 22. Maybe everybody's wide open, but I'm getting the hint that no one is. And tight ends are built to be safe, like that safety guy for a quarterback. If he needs to like get that quick drag, curl, you name it, like right. So it is definitely concerning. Dave, I wanted to more talk. You brought it up, DJ Moore and the screens and like the RPOs and stuff and how it's predictable. I would love to know, and I'm going to look to see how many times you ran the ball on first down. It had to have been 99% of the game had to have been runs on first down. It's like the predictability is so easy. There's no complexity to our offense. It feels like it's like it is the same thing.
Think about this, Jack. Thank you. Because honest to God, if I was a head coach, which I shouldn't be, but if I was and I was calling offense, like in my bag, it's probably what you're seeing right now in Chicago. Some screens. Okay, we're going to do DJ Moore. Nothing complex. Like there's no fucking way. No, not even blocking. I'm just because I wouldn't be able to really do that. Like I can't put together
you're saying if you were literally the head coach because you have no skills.
I'm just saying, I think I could probably do like my game plan may be similar to what the Bears ran today. Exactly. Where I'm like, actually might even be a little bit better because I probably would have handled that end of game situation. DeAndre Swift's getting that ball on third down. Like if it's 3rd and 10, they're expecting to pass here. Go get me 3-4 yards. Santos, I'm putting on your shoulder. You miss it. Hey, I did my job, right? But it's like, God, there's nothing that blows me away or that screams, oh, this is a really good design here, right? Nothing all night. It was DJ Moore, quick screen, DeAndre Swift, toss it back 7 yards to DeAndre Swift.
That was crazy.
And then you lose 7 yards. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
like,
but I also
Madden's
feel like
taught me more.
Yeah, I also feel like though, like again, I know I'm like preaching here, but this offensive line is it's so bad. It can't pass block and it can't run block. Like it is literally so bad. I think that's why they go to screen so much because if you have Caleb sit back there for 3 seconds, the likelihood he's like, if they send any type of blitz, we saw that anytime they blitzed, it was barely picked up. The only time it was picked up was when we had Roshan also basically be a tackle and hit the blitz. Every other time he's getting killed back there, and a couple of his biggest sacks were off those blitzes because he had to run out right away, turns around and runs it to the defensive end who also didn't get blocked. So I feel that if the offensive line gets better, well, it will, right? And then you also have better play calling, which I think we'll get with Ben Johnson. I think there's the jump is going to be so significant. It doesn't mean we'll be a good team, but I think we're going to be very much surprised because, again, this is one of the worst offensive lines in NFL history. This isn't like, oh, yeah, this is bad. No, this is literally historically bad, right? We thought the Justin Fields era was bad. He never got sacked this much. Think about that. We used to always talk about that with Fields, right? But like, dude, he's getting beat the fuck up back there. This is even worse. Who would have thought that coming from last year? And it's funny because that's exactly why we're 4-11, because we have everywhere else we improved. But the one area where I don't think we did or we didn't enough and we had some injuries was that offensive line. So, boy, you better, whoever your GM is going next year, you better be throwing money at all of the top offensive linemen. Your first couple of picks in the draft have to be the trenches either side. There's like, you don't have the luxury now to do best player available in either of those scenarios. You have to fix the trenches. Otherwise, your quarterback is going to die back there. So I do want to say this though, because we were talking about Ben Johnson. There was a comment. Someone said that Sears, on Twitter, we love that Jack's burner.
Sears Tower. Get out of here.
Whoa!
He's
my
said,
favorite piece of architecture.
Respectfully, I don't. He's making shit up. He gets lucky. Man, there was a thread. I think it was Bill Zimmerman, and it's a good thread. Check it out. Where he'll delete stuff. He'll delete stuff.
That's a lot.
And like I said, he has called some stuff, but at the same time, there's stuff I could call, right? Stuff you could call just because we cover this thing. We watch how stuff is.
Yeah, for sure.
For me, I get it. And he's like our Batman, right? Bat logo. I get it.
That's a good point.
It's kind of like it. He seriously is. So he's like a vigilante. I get it. So maybe I'll take I'll take that away. But for some reason, I'm just like, I'm too pissed off right now. I don't want to hear anything promising from him.
How about this? No, even not Sears Tower, because it just ties in what Breer and all of them are saying. There is an interview that's going to happen. They're prepping to interview Ben Johnson. You've now heard it from multiple people. That means Ben Johnson's agent is letting the Chicago Bears know that he is open for business. And I think that is, I mean, the Bears have disappointed us before, so I'm not going to say it's a done deal. I would never say that, but that is very promising going into the coaching search. And I don't think we've ever, at least that I've been following the team, been at the top of the head coaching list, like as being a number one spot for one of the top candidates. Because normally we suck so bad, nobody wants to come here, right? And what's ironic, or I guess a good sign, is that the Bears, you're answering the question there, the Bears, the last time they had a top candidate that they hired that like was very sought after, do you know what coach that was? Lovie Smith. And that was the last
Matt Nagy,
good
maybe?
coach. And I don't think he was top there. I think
I was going to say John Fox because he was coming off that Broncos run.
Yeah, but he was so old though. I think that people were like kind of concerned
Definitely
that he
not
was
Matt
going to get
Eberflus.
one more. No, but it was Lovey because he was like the next young aspiring head coach. I'm just saying that to be like we might actually get it right from that standpoint, which is not a case we've ever been in. That's all I'm saying. Like the little silver lining is that we actually might get Ben Johnson.
No. Can I try, Dave? Let me try to do silver lining. The silver lining of this point of the season, the second half of the season, to me is thank God we gave Thomas Brown the interim head coach job, because now we know he is not the answer. Could you imagine if the offense played the way that it did, like throughout the end of the year? Say like we didn't change anything. It was Eberflus, and then it was Thomas Brown at OC, and the offense just like played similarly. This dude is not built for head coach at all. The timeouts, it's the same shit. Thank God we got the trial run now, and we could be like, hell no, go back to Carolina and go do whatever the hell I didn't even know his job. I don't give a shit. I hate Thomas Brown. I hate you. And
he was a passing game coordinator, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, he was actually an offensive. He was an
screen game coordinator. That's what he is. That's what he is.
He was the offensive coordinator in Carolina, and then he was the passing game coordinator in Chicago.
Yeah,
and then he was promoted to OC. And then
to be fair though, this is asinine. Going from passing game coordinator and in 2 weeks you're the head coach is crazy. Or 3 weeks. So look, I'm not saying he's gonna be a head coach. I'm not defending him. I'm just saying, like,
Oh, yeah.
what? Could you imagine that? That is crazy.
Yeah, and he also has no, like, he had no preparation. You know, the culture. Like, it's not his culture he's built. He was the training camp wasn't run by him. There's a lot, but I do think it's definitely fair, and I think a lot of people, and he may even feel like it. Not the time. He's what, 37 years old.
No, go somewhere. I think
he was.
You'll be fine.
And I hate to say this, but it's like, man, I do wish that we could maybe see what it would have looked like if we kept Flus,
and he was just out
one for the defense, and keep him up in the booth, because there was a lot of good things going, and maybe nothing changes. Maybe we're in the same shit show where we are right now, and what we just watched, still scoring 3 points on Thursday Night Football, possibly. But it's like, man, a part of me thinks maybe it would have looked good, but at the same time, it was a pirate ship. It was mutiny. Blues had to
go, bro.
But it's like, but if he didn't lose the locker room, I just wish we could have seen maybe that type of combination between those two.
Would that though? Like, okay, we're dealing with the repercussions now in season, which sucks as a fan. But if this sets us up to get the best coach out there moving forward by firing early, all worth it. It is all, because look, Caleb has already shown us that he had, whether you're fully sold, which it's fine, you don't have to be fully sold, but he's shown enough that you're like, okay, there's definitely something here that we can work with moving forward. So if you had to fire your coach and we have to deal with this fucking shit show for the, it's not 4 weeks now, going on 5. If it gets you Ben Johnson or whoever that hot coach is that actually works and helps develop Caleb, I'll do that 100 times out of 100. So I guess that's my silver lining. Very pessimistic about the game. The current state, absolutely. But Dave, like you said, a lot of this stuff can be changed. Like, you don't go from being 4-11 to then being 12-4, 5. I'm not saying that, but you can make a significant jump. Actually, you know what? You can actually do that, because the Bears in 2018 did it, right? They went from very last to very first. They ended up 12-4 winning the division. So if you get the right coach in here, builds the right culture, you have enough of the foundational pieces at this moment that it's not like you're starting from scratch. This isn't a rebuild. It's a retooling of your trenches. So you do that, get your coaches right.
That comment here from Tiger about Justin, and we're not going to talk about it, but it truly is. Like, we have the same conversations, like, oh, we got to get the coaching out of here. Matt Nagy, Justin, he needs better. Once we get more in here, once we get competency, and whatever surrounding him, I think it's going to be a lot better, right? Same damn conversation.
Over.
Maybe even similar with Mitch at the end of, Matt Nagy with John, or with John Fox.
John Fox,
right?
100%. Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh my goodness, how many times can we keep doing this? And how many times can fans take it? Which I guess is the answer is, we're going to keep showing up. We're going to keep showing up no matter what, because it was, what a showing. I mean, sometimes I feel like the Bears fans care a lot more about this team than Bears players. It's a little shocking. It's shocking because, I mean, man, which maybe it's not, I guess the fans, are the fans, but at the same time, it's like, they should care a little bit more, because there's times, and not the defense tonight, but offensively, I mean, these guys were just piss poor. I mean, the body language too, which I don't know how you felt.
Bro, you've lost 10 straight. You have not won in over almost 3 months, bro.
They haven't won in this country, dude.
No, since October.
And their last win wasn't even in the U.S.
Yeah, it was in, So the last win in October, the last one would have been early October, I think.
Yeah. Back when we
in the U.S. Yeah. So look, I get it. There's a lot of shit that's negative, and it makes sense. Hopefully, and we've seen it. I'm trying to be silver lining here so I don't lose my fucking mind.
Yeah.
We've seen it with other franchises. They've done it. They've gotten, whether it was the quarterback or the coach, it changed their whole trajectory, okay? The problem with the Bears is we've had the stories over and over again. We've never had the quarterback. I think that's the biggest thing. We actually have the quarterback, and that's what's making this position hot, because people are looking at it or attractive, and they're like, dude, we can do something. You don't think Ben Johnson's looking at this and being like, oh, that's a toy I could play with. I can actually build something with this. Same with the GM. But it doesn't mean we're going to get it right, and we haven't gotten it right over and over again. So I definitely understand the dismay and the, not believing it in that confidence. I totally get it. I'm trying to like convince myself that like all you have to do, you can miss a million times. All you have to do is get it right once, right? All you have to do is get it right once, and then you.
What do you mean get what right once?
Whether it's the coach or well, for us to be coach and quarterback pairing, I think you get those two right. If you
it's the two most important, probably. Yeah,
correct. We've never done it, so if you can get those two right, you know what I mean. Like Patriots sucked for years. Like if you look at their history before Brady and Belichick, they were not good consistently throughout their history. Right? Mm-hmm. They get Brady. Well, first they get Belichick, then they get Brady. Boom, it works out.
I think the most important thing, though, even with Belichick, he failed in Cleveland. It was Brady that saved his ass. Like
for
at
sure.
the end of the day,
I mean, that's the guy who's got to play.
But it was a great pairing too because they
for sure
they gelled really well together. Personality, greatness, demanding. I get that. At the same time, I mean, silver lining. I mean, there's going to be a whole lot of that this offseason because one, if you clean house with polls, you're going to get a brand new GM. You're going to get a brand new coach. You're going to get probably the pick of the coaches. Let's be honest here. I know a lot of people are like, the Bears are dysfunctional. It's like, I don't care. First of all, big market, charter franchise, Caleb Williams, arsenal of picks, arsenal of cap space. You're loaded, dude, from top to bottom, a lot of things. And you do have some foundational pieces on both sides of the ball, in my opinion. Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon. I mean, second best player on the defense, Kyler Gordon. Like, anybody want to argue that?
For sure. No, for
He's
sure.
so good. You got Montez Sweat. Anyways, all I'm saying, I think it's a coveted job in my opinion. Like you got Pete Carroll coming out of retirement, basically saying, "Hey, I'll coach. You know, I'll run the show." But for me, the silver lining here is the Bears are going to have an insanely productive offseason. The only thing is you hope like you said, that you hope they get it right. Not just with the coach. That's important. That's very, very important. But even with all these draft picks, all of the free agent signings that they're going to make, and potentially the trades and the extensions or the not extending players, like maybe not extending Tevin, letting Keenan walk. Who knows what they're going to do? They have the ability here. If they get probably 90% of it right, they're in the playoffs next year. They are. Simple as that. I know the division's loaded, but you could probably get in the wild card with the talent and the boost they're going to get from a new coaching staff and then an influx of more talent. Where this team, I know a lot of people are like, I don't see it. There's still a lot of talent on this roster.
For sure.
A lot of people have given up. You know, DJ Moore was thinking about vacation a couple weeks ago, but you saw it tonight where it's like he's still able to make some crazy plays when he's like a running back when he gets the ball. However, like I said, I think there's just a lot to be excited about. But right now, when you lost your 10th straight game and we're embarrassed once again on national television, I mean, you shouldn't be excited. There should be a silver lining, right?
No.
And that's what I think. But I'll tell you what, I haven't been hyped. Well, I have been hyped. But I'm very, very stoked about this offseason because there's just so much to be excited about. We don't have our quarterback, or we have our quarterback right now.
I was about to say, calm down. Calm down there. Yeah.
No, we have our quarterback right now. I'm not saying he's a franchise guy. What I'm saying, I'm not going to, look at CJ Stroud, right? He's having a tough year. You got to be honest. Yeah. And they crowned him too early. Same thing with Caleb. He has shown some flashes. And you still have that rookie contract, 3 or 4 more years left where you can build around him. And you hope he turns out to be the guy. The problem is you just got to make sure that you do it the right way. And we thought this is a really good situation, but it's not. It's not. I
think our issue was we didn't think that the offensive line was going to be as bad as what it was. And it got injured a lot too.
Infante had they put how much money into it? I couldn't even believe that number.
It was the cheapest amount. Yeah.
But was that including Nate Davis?
Yeah. Because Nate Davis's deal wasn't that expensive. That's only $30 million over 3 years, right? Wasn't that $30 million for 3 years? Correct. I thought it was $30 million. I could be wrong.
So Jacob Infante, I was going to ask Jack, but he's taking a sip of water. He's taking a break on us. The Bears, they have the second cheapest offensive line in the NFL with just over $23.9 million for the whole entire unit. And that is so fucking cheap.
Well, first off, you got
Nate Davis' contract was 4 years. Huh?
But he's saying 20. Right. No, he's saying 20 million for this year. So don't count the full deal. He would say so. Like if his deal is what
30 million, 30. 3 year for 30.
So 3 years. That's what I said. Yeah. So 3 year for 30. So let's just assume that's 10 million on the cap this year. That's half of it. Braxton Jones is a rookie. That's a cheap deal. Darnell Wright.
No, yeah, I get that. I just wondered if that money was factored in it, but
Either
obviously
way, it's not
was.
that
That's
much.
nuts. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's
But
not
they
that
haven't
much.
spent a lot. I mean, linebackers, they spent a lot of money.
Well, think about it. That's the one thing with polls. So
JJ,
that's the double-edged sword that kind of sucks, right? Because it's either what's great about
Montez.
polls is that he hasn't mortgaged the future, but on the other end, because he didn't mortgage the future, that means he's not overspending in some areas, right? And so you see the results of that. The thing is like, okay, there's a lot of holes still on this team because you didn't, go out there and go all in. But because of that, we still have a lot of cap space and we have draft picks. I mean, that's what you get, unfortunately. Yeah. So, I think they're going to have to spend. Like, they're going to have to spend for the offensive line next year. You can't go this cheap route anymore. You got to go all in.
Yeah.
If you get that,
it's like toilet paper, man. You don't go cheap on toilet paper. You just don't. There's some things you don't go cheap on.
Wipe with your hand. You can't
line, offensive line. You can't. You just can't. Even defensive line, you might be able to get away with. Like even this year, it hasn't been great. But it's not been terrible, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
They did spend with Montez.
They just can't get sacks.
I was shocked with Darrell Taylor. Darrell Taylor, he has 2 sacks in that Tennessee game, and then he has 1 strip sack today. But I'm like, yeah, it hasn't been great. Even Montez Sweat, he got gifted a sack today as well.
5.5 I believe. On the season now.
Yeah, 5.5 on the season, but it's like, man, he needs some help. So we'll see
I know there's not a lot of snap counts too. I've noticed that. I was like, there's a lot of times I'm like, man, Montez is not out there. I really
also
something with
there was a comment here, which one show. We got 15 minutes left. First of all, if you're here, we haven't said it yet. First of all, thank you. It's 10:50. You probably should go to bed, but if you're here, we appreciate it. Hit that like button, subscribe. BFR podcast, again, presented by Sports Mockery. We talk all things Bears. It's all we do, but we appreciate it. If you're new here, Ficky, you want to actually go through that rant?
Yeah. I mean,
there's a lot of rants. This one's not. If you want to go through a little read here, and we'll finish the show up with a couple of questions.
Absolutely. First off, like Dave said, if you're still here, thank you so much. I'm so sorry you had to watch that shit show of a game like we do. But look, this is the BFR podcast. Dave, Jack, and I, we're fans just like y'all. So we dedicated our time and we're sickos to watch that embarrassing game like y'all, like we said, so we could give you a fantastic show. Because again, this is the BFR podcast, #1 podcast by the fans, for the fans. So thank you for being here. Also, if you're here, please just give a like and subscribe and give a hashtag FTA in the comments. That's just for the algorithm. Like and subscribe. It's free. It just helps push the show out to more fans like y'all. We really do appreciate it. We're trying to grow this community one game at a time. Oh my gosh. I hate that I even said one game at a time because I can't stand watching these games at the end of the season, but we do thank you for being here. Also, I know it's the holiday season and it's getting cold. It is definitely cold where I'm at, but if you want to stay warm during this holiday season, you can also support us by going to the BFRstore.com. Again, that is the BFRstore.com. We have hats, hoodies, shirts, sweaters, beanies, everything your heart could desire. I know none of us want to wear Bears gear right now, which I don't blame you, but you could wear some BFR stuff or buy it for your friend, a late gift for someone you really rock with. And, you can rip that in public and people will not point at you and laugh. So if you want to do that, we really do appreciate it. All the proceeds go back into the show so we can make this better for you. Dave just left because he's actually about to order like 50 sweatshirts as he speaks. So you should be like Dave. But also, if you want to join the ongoing community here, you can join our Patreon. That's the BFRden.com, where we have exclusives like monthly giveaways, private Zoom calls, mailbag episodes, and much, much more that we are working on. And then, the best part about that is like we have 2 tiers, a rookie tier and a rookie Grizzly tier and a Hall of Fame Grizzly tier, $10 and $3. $10 gets you a private Zoom call with us and everything in the rookie tier. Rookie tier gives you like monthly giveaways and things like that. We're building on it. There's a bunch of members in there. Really do appreciate it. And if you join, you could join today and we could get you on here. We love to give you a shout out. So first off, let's give a shout out to our Hall of Fame Grizzlies. That's Michael and Gage. We really do appreciate y'all. Y'all been OGs from day one. And then we'll give a shout out to our rookie Grizzlies as well, which is Alex, Brian, Chris, Jason, and Eston. So thank you all for all you Patreon members. We really do appreciate it. Again, all the proceeds from that and the BFR store just go back in to this so that we can keep making this show, the #1 show by the fans, for the fans, better and better. So also, if this is your first time here, please give a hashtag new face gang. I'm sorry if this is your first episode you had to join because more of a rant and venting session, but we do appreciate you here. So give a hashtag new face gang in the chat. And if you're an OG, because I saw a bunch of y'all in the chats, which I really appreciate, please give a hashtag OG in the chat and we'll give you a shout out before the end of the show. Again, like and subscribe. Go ahead and leave a comment. We appreciate y'all. Back to you, Dave.
Yeah, it's first of all, appreciate the support like always. I'm excited about this offseason. I know a lot of people are as well. We're going to go ahead and finish the show up with just 2 questions and maybe some final thoughts. And we'll be back Well, we'll take a little bit of a break. I think that's warranted. Let me see here. I don't want to say
because it's a Sunday game.
Maybe, yeah, we'll be back
next Friday,
next year, actually.
Yeah,
New Year's. We'll be back after the New Year more than likely. We'll probably take this to the pregame. We'll enjoy football, I guess, bear-less football this weekend, where we kind of enjoy the playoffs, college playoffs, and, of course, Sunday football. And then we'll be back, after the New Year, probably looking at Thursday or Friday, probably Friday, like we typically get back on our routine schedule. But, appreciate the support. It's been unreal. Terrible season, but y'all have showed out, of course. So let's go ahead and get to these two final questions, and then we'll finish with our final thoughts. Good?
Yeah, sounds good. All right, we got No Ortega here on YouTube. No, this is the first time I've seen you in the chat. So if you're new, please give a hashtag new face gang so we can give you a shout out here. But would you guys trade your first pick for Shanahan? Jack, I'll start with you.
I am so desperate and down bad to where, sure. If that would obviously that entails like the interviews go horrible. Like say it's Ben Johnson. I don't want Pete Carroll. I want nothing to do with him. Vrabel, I mean, I'm honest to God, I'm like coping and I'm like, okay, that might not be that bad. But say those fail, like it is DEFCON 1. If we walk into next year, like say it's like January or December and we just don't, or not January or December, like over the summer and we just don't have a coach, we gotta get. So yes, answer the question. Yes, if the interviews were to fail.
Is that your so for you then, and I'll get to you, Dave, in a second. So it's not option one then. Like if you found out there's an opportunity, which I don't think there is, but if you found there's an opportunity, you're like, no, I still want to do Ben Johnson first, and then it'd be shit.
I prioritize an offensive tackle at this point, obviously it'll be a tackle. I assume not obvious, but I assume it'll be a tackle with our top 10 pick. So I think we really need to hold on to that and not just give away assets away for a guy to overlook a team.
That's fair. Dave, you.
Yeah, no, I don't want to give up a first. Like I love Shanahan, I really do, but that just there's still some holes. We talked about that on this team. That's a mixed bag. Maybe don't ask me after such a
loss,
a loss like this because I can't really think straight. Probably
it's like shopping when
Kyle Shanahan is
the worst.
Is an unreal coach. I think he would do wonders for Caleb. A first round pick. God, I would really want to try to talk him into like a second and like a third or something along those lines. But I think he would cost that. And I understand San Francisco's not going to let him go. So it's probably not going to happen. But right now, how I feel, no, I would rather maybe go with Ben Johnson and fill that with a premium position, right? Like a pick, a top pick, like a tackle or something along those lines, something of impact. But I think a lot of people could probably feel the way like, first, that's all it's going to take, because some people probably think it might take two.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's probably going to take more.
So for me, I wouldn't pay the price right now. It may change tomorrow. I feel a little bit better. But yeah. What about you, Fick? I don't think you would do it.
I don't think so, but if we did it, I would feel. Look, Shanahan wins everywhere he goes. So like, if we did it, I'm gonna be like, man, we could have probably used those assets otherwhere and gone like Ben Johnson. But there's one thing you're giving up that amount of capital because you're getting a good coach, right? Like they had a bad year this year, okay, right? That was like Shanahan's first bad year, tons of injuries, but like he's gone to multiple Super Bowls with shitty quarterbacks at that. Well, Matt Ryan's not shitty. He took Matt Ryan as offensive coordinator, but he's been at 2 in San Fran. Like, I'm sorry, that alone, his resume alone is the greatest Chicago Bears head coach ever. Mine is George McCaskey, but that was back in like 1940. Okay, so yes, if we did it, I'm gonna be like, you know what? At least I know that this team is gonna be led well, and like we talked about it. Like, do you want a leader of men or do you want an offensive mind? That guy's both. So I would be good about that. But also, I love my draft capital. So I'm like, I would love that. But if that's only like, it's almost like what Jack said. It's only if you couldn't get Ben Johnson. Like if you're like, can't get it, or like no offensive people want to come to Chicago, you're like, okay, look, we cannot run it back with any of these other people, or like we cannot do defensive mind or anything like that. We have to go offense. Then that's the case. But I don't even think that's a possibility. John Lynch, the GM, shut it down anyways. Yeah. So it's probably not going to happen. But great question.
Yeah.
Crazy things have happened. They should be doing more. I love the idea of like coaches being traded for draft picks. Like it's only happened a couple times. Gruden was that. Dungy, I think, back to the Buccaneers. Yeah, Sean Payton. I love that idea, trading for coaches. I think that's great. Anyways, I know that's not part of the question, but do you want to bring up Tiger's question here for us, Jack? We'll finish it with this one.
Bit of a loaded question here. I love Dave first.
Tiger here with your Abby's funny on Twitter, but okay. Says, do we think Caleb would have the same success that Daniel is having if they switch? I'll start with Dave first on this one.
Yeah. I think Caleb would have the same success. I mean, Washington, I thought was a shit show. Like, I thought they were a bad organization, but they cleaned house, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they did.
They've really turned things around.
Got new ownership too.
Their offensive line's better. I mean, Caleb, I'm not going to say he would be having a better year, but he would be damn good, just like JD right now. And it would be the conversations about Caleb. I think the narratives about him would be completely different. He'd be, like I said, Washington's fighting for their division right now, which is crazy. So he's not playing in the NFC North, right? He would be playing in the NFC East.
Yes, which is
right.
Way
come on.
weaker. Well,
yeah, I mean,
you have the Eagles.
There's so many things that just there's a lot that I think could kind of go into it. So I think easily. So
Jack, what about you?
Yeah, I totally agree, and it's hard. Like, I still will forever think until the day that he retires or it's totally proven wrong to me that Caleb is the guy and that he is a good quarterback and can remain in this league for years. I refuse to let this offensive line tell me otherwise. I refuse to let Matt Eberflus tell me otherwise. I know Caleb is the guy. I don't need to convince myself. I'm not saying this to convince myself. I'm positive of it. So, yeah, I think Caleb would be just fine in Washington, if not even better. Like, I think Caleb was the 1-1 for a reason. I think he's, as a player in college, he was better than Jaden Daniels, in my opinion. And so that's why he went 1-1. It's very, very hard to judge Caleb and Jaden and, like, compare the two based on the situations that they're in. And I know it's a very cop-out loser answer of me to be like, well, it's hard and make excuses for it. But at the same time, Caleb Williams is a skillful, good NFL player. He's going to be good. Again, like I said, until he retires.
Yeah, I think it'd be good. The question is, if you get the right mind in here, is it good or is it great? Like, you can get great, then that's fantastic. Like, are we talking? And I know that's just projecting. Like, we want Caleb to be within, like, when you think of like Lamar, Josh Allen, your Mahomes, like, you want, like, every year you're saying, like, oh, this guy can take us to the promised land. You know what I mean? Like, you want that top 5 group. Right now, he's projecting to be like, you see flashes and you're like, okay, it's consistent enough where you think that can be good, but we need it to be more frequent to be great. And then Dave, I know I just cut you off here, but my answer to it, I also agree. I think so. And that's why I've been harping it now. Well, we all have, but like, coaching is so important, right? Because if Caleb's ceiling is super high, right now the coaching is not having him reach his potential, and the best coaches make you play up to your ceiling, right? And so you get that in here. Maybe we see a level of Caleb that we have not seen previously. We won't know that until we see who our head coach is, but we've seen how it affected Justin with Eberflus, right? I think Fields could have, if he would have had a better coaching pairing coming on from the beginning, we probably would have saw, him be better than what he is now. And so we're just hoping the good thing. I mean, I've been silver lining all day. The good thing is that we got rid of the stuff now. 1 year that's like bad, but in that 1 year that's bad and chaotic, Caleb still had like a decent year. Broke tons of records, right? Bears records, NFL records, and still you look at his stat line and you go, okay, that's not bad. So that gives me a little bit of hope that you get the right guy in there. He's not completely broken like we saw with some of the other quarterbacks. You can get that right.
Yeah. No, I'm in the same boat. I'll end with this with Caleb. Very, very good flashes. One thing I'm always going to be shocked on is his accuracy, or how inaccurate he's been this year. Just intermediately, especially the deep ball. I mean, when it comes to, I think Rome, DJ, and Keenan, those 3 receivers are in the top 10 in like uncatchable like percentage. And it's like in a very, very red category. And that is not good. That is not good. And so it'll be interesting to see, a few years from now, is this an outlier with Caleb Williams in his career, or is this like a reoccurring theme? And the thing that shocks me is college Caleb, like he was accurate. It was that was not an issue. And I don't think anybody had any issues in regards to his accuracy, right? It was more about him playing Superman, right? And trying to extend. And I don't think you're never going to take that away from him. That's what makes him special. Of course, it's going to aggravate you at times. It's happened this year a lot where you're pissed off, but at the same time, when you throw in the people blocking for him, that's what, I mean, it's like a terrible combination between a guy that wants to create and extend, and also an offensive line that they can't block for very long sometimes. And so for me, I can't wait to look back or look 3-4 years from now. Is this an outlier? Because I hope it is, and I believe it is. But it's like it's been so bad where I'm a little concerned. So we'll see what happens this offseason, and of course, Rome and him and that chemistry building, because even tonight there were some times where they were off, and that's been the case all year, even with DJ too. So, and Keenan.
And Keenan, yeah. I think a big thing with inaccuracies, obviously there's a talent level. It doesn't mean you just fix this one thing and you're accurate, but a lot of times it is with the feet. So hearing that he said, my biggest issue this season has been footwork, it is like a little promising, because it's like, at least you would know that, okay, this is probably leading to some of my inaccurate throws. So, and what's good, I heard Aaron Rodgers talk about this and how you approach, and Tom Brady, how you approach the offseason. It's like, you can't fix everything in the offseason. First of all, in the season, you can't fix anything, right? There's too much stuff you have to focus on. You can't, like, if your footwork is bad coming in week 1, by week 17 is not going to be much better. It could be slightly improved, but it's not going to be significant because you're worried about so many other things. So it's good to see in the offseason, if that is the main issue, that's the one thing he tackles, and we see that significant change. Like that again, I'm being very hopeful after a very shitty season. So I could be just sipping the Kool-Aid, but I don't know. I have more faith in this quarterback that I've had in any quarterback in my time. And I could be wrong. Next year, it could be worse. But as of right now, that's how I feel. So,
yeah. Well, hey, let's get to our OGs, our shout-outs here, our new face gangs as well, and then we'll go ahead and get out of here. Get some sleep.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Or have nightmares, whatever comes first. Okay, Roy1400 here on YouTube with the hashtag. Well, not hashtag. We said I'm new, so that's a hashtag new face gang to you, Roy. Thank you for hopping on the BFR podcast. We really do appreciate that. We got our OG in here. Alex, really do appreciate you hopping on. Said hashtag OG, really enjoyed ranting with y'all tonight. Dare I say we spoil the Packers next week? That's not happening. So, Michael, oh my gosh, Michael, you're in the UK. Please go to bed, my guy. Please. It is so late. The fact that you watch these games, I feel so bad for you. But he is the OG in here. Hashtag OG. The podcast is the only good thing about the Bears. We really do appreciate that. Thank God we don't have to block for this team. Domain expansion here with the hashtag OG. Keep grinding. Appreciate that domain. And then Tiger in here said it's his second time. So hashtag newish. Face gang /OG. No, you're an OG. We appreciate it. Thank you for hopping on the BFR podcast, the #1 show for the fans, by the fans. And Roy1400 said, fire, fire, fire. Happy New Year's. I liked and subscribe. Hey, if you want to be cool like Roy, do the same thing. Like and subscribe. If you already subscribed, thank you. But give a like. If you don't want to do it now, wait till the show ends. Hit a like so people can see it tomorrow. We really do appreciate it. Also, shout out to our Apple and Spotify podcast listeners, our replay gang listeners. We appreciate y'all. I actually credit for y'all to not watching live a little bit after a game like that. I totally understand. We get it. So, but we do appreciate you taking the time to listen afterwards. So shout out to our replay gang.
Absolutely. All right, boys. Well, I think that's it. You guys have a great new year. We'll see you next year. Again, we'll do our final game preview for the season, which is crazy. It's kind of flown by. So we appreciate the support, and we'll see you next year.
Peace.